Long, long ago, Mary and Joseph set out on a journey. But this journey was different, for this was their second journey, and this time they had a tiny, tiny baby with them. They were fleeing from Herod's armies. And they moved along the mountain road, and it was cold, and it was frosty, and they were scared. Mary gathered the baby into her arms, and as the wind howled around them, she shivered and shook. And Joseph saw this, and he said, Mary, he said, we need to find somewhere to spend the night with the baby. But they looked and they looked, and they could see nowhere. There were no houses, there were no buildings, there was nowhere for them. And he looked at Mary and he looked at the baby, and he said, we must find somewhere to stop before the frost comes down. And not further along the road, Joseph said, Mary, look, it's a cave. Surely we'll be warm and safe in the cave. And they went inside, and Joseph collected some kindling and made a little fire, and the flames flickered, and the building became warm. And then Mary, well, she gathered some things together and she made some food for them to eat. And then they laid down by the fire. Now, over in the corner of that cave, there was a teeny weeny spider. And the spider looked at Mary and Joseph and the baby, and it knew that there was something special about this child. It didn't know what it was. But the spider looked and said, oh, it's a teeny weeny baby. Oh, it's a newborn baby. Oh, I wish I had something to give to the baby. But what have I got to give? I'm just a tiny weeny little spider. The only thing I can do is to weave a web. That's it, thought the spider. I will weave a web over the entrance of the cave to keep the baby safe. And using the thread from inside its own body, the little spider began to weave. And it went up, and it went down, and it went from side to side, locking weft into warp, creating the most perfect weaving, leaping into the air like an airborne acrobat, creating fairy lace. And the spider wove and wove until a shimmering, shining, glistening web hung over the entire entrance of the cave, keeping Mary and Joseph and the spider and the baby safe and sound. Now the next morning, going down that road, was an army. And they kicked up sand as they marched, and the road shook and shaked with the thud of their boots. And they marched and marched, creating huge plumes of dust which reached into the sky, until the leader of that army shouted, "Stop, men, stop! Will you look at that?" he said. And he pointed at the cave, and the silver web he said, have you ever seen anything as exquisite in your life as that spider's web? And all of the men of the army stopped and gazed in wonderment at the web, the most perfect of weaving as it shimmered in the sunlight. Well, he said, nobody could possibly have gone into that cave, because if they had done, they would have smashed that web to smithereens. And with that, he lifted his hand and he said, forward! And the army marched on, leaving Mary and Joseph and the baby and the wee teeny spider safe and sound. So remember, children, you're never ever too small